Hello poopsies, thank you for joining me for another ASMR video. So today I decided to show you what I have been reading for the past year or so recently. So I think this year really, I was rubbing something on the lens. I'm like, oh actually I just realized the lens probably needs some cleaning, so you know what? Lens cleaning. Let's see if this actually helps a bit. I should use a lens wipe, but we'll see if that worked. You know what? I'll be back. Okay. We're gonna try this again. This lens gets a little smudgy at times. So, I know you wouldn't mind, because this is still ASMR. Some people who prefer high production, though, would mind. So, well, this really isn't the channel for you then, is it? Okay. Alright, so I was rubbing my, cleaning the viewfinder as well, and that's a lot better. Yeah, actually. Okay. So today I will be introducing what I have been reading basically for the past year. There's just one book I'm not showing specifically for reasons, because this person who wrote this book is very controversial and I will just not debate it. Okay, there's no room for debate on this channel since this is a relaxation channel. So let's start with the first one. A lot of these are Dolores Cannon books, probably half of them, because I really am getting into reading her works. And I just finished one book today, actually, and I started a new book, Legacy from the Stars. And so, yeah, I'm trying to get through all her books before I die. Okay, because there's a lot. Okay, she spent her whole life writing, basically. Well, the later years in her life, at least. But so this is a Dolores Cannon. They Walked with Jesus. This is basically, she's a, as you know, she was a hypnotist, a past life regressionist, and she basically had this technique called QHHT, but that didn't come at a later time. That means quantum healing hypnosis technique, where she taught others to do that. And I actually learned transpersonal and clinical hypnotherapy, 500 plus hours, because I was inspired through Dolores Cannon, and I just did it for personal growth reasons. Got a lot of healing done myself, but I've been following this work since early 2019. And that's how I discovered Alba Weinman, and I got a hypno session from her, and like it was just like, it changed my life to realize, like, whoa, you know, we actually have past lives and this actually happened. You know. So basically she goes into detail in a lot of her books about clients' sessions and their past life regressions, and one lady had a life with Jesus. Yes, believe it or not. So whether you do believe it or not is irrelevant. It's just what the book's about. I'm not here to share my beliefs, you know. I just want to share what the book's about. You know, that's what this video is for, obviously. So, but I like this one. I like the life of the person who lived and walked among Jesus, literally, who learned from him. There were a lot of teachings he spread. Obviously, it's in the Bible. And actually, oh, I'm getting goosebumps. Jesus is here today. Remember in one video I said, you probably didn't understand me though, because it was a Macedonian, but I had a recent video, tarot reading in Macedonian. And I said the Native American energies here, because the night before, I picked up an Apache tear crystal intuitively. And then the day after, I read in the chapter of the book, because I read one chapter every morning. That's how I read so many books. I read probably these 18 in the last year alone, which is not that much, but like if you look at the stack next to me, it's a lot. Okay. But anyway, so I read about Native Americans in that chapter the next day, and I'm like, Native energy. And guess what happened this morning? So I open a random passage in the Bible, just kind of like how you shuffle a tarot card, right? Or pull a random card. That's how what I do with the Bible. I pull a random passage. Jesus' crucifixion. Okay. That was the passage that came through of all odds. And I'm like, oh, well, it is Christmas soon, although arguably so. Well, again, I'm not going to discuss, but there are... Some say March, April was when really Christmas should have been, but I'll leave it there. Anyway, allegedly. Moving on. Need not say anymore. Look. And now I'm pulling this book out. I did not plan this video. I didn't even think of it. I was like, oh, these are the books I read. These are that passage I pulled this morning. And then look. So Native American one day, Jesus another. What is happening, right? Are there some guides? Are these all the guides, that are coming through? Maybe some guides that you have, you believe, because I'm a very spiritual person. I don't have ones that believe. I never did, never will, never cared to, really. I feel so confined and restricted by just one ideology because there's so much beautiful information in everything, yeah, basically, that's that. He's coming through, guys. So I don't know. Maybe some of you who really believe I need prayer and like, whoa, he's there. Okay, I feel like this is his presence coming through now, right? First it was the natives, now him. So anyway, so that was the first book. To make a long story short, even though I can never make a long story short. My blabble mouth. Okay, so this next one is Tarot and Divination Cards, a visual archive by Letitia Barbier. So this is a thick one, and these are tabletop books. So with the tabletop books, I don't read a chapter a day because they're too short. I stick to like 50 to 100 pages a day. So I can get through it quickly. And I read them at the same time I'm reading other books. But I usually like to stick to reading just one book. Again, unless it's a tabletop, then I'll read the tabletop and another book. Because, I don't want to be like, I don't understand how people do like 3-4 books at once. I'm like, how do you possibly remember all that information? That's like studying 10 languages at once. It just doesn't make sense. So this one is just a book really all about tarot. Okay. So who doesn't love a good tabletop? All right. It's very advanced in language though. Letitia is very advanced in communicating in English. Because, some of the words I don't even understand, to be honest. Like I felt like I had to keep pulling out a dictionary just to comprehend what she was trying to tell me. But a lot of illustrations. I won't show it for copyright purposes, of course, but I still do want to make some page flipping sounds, obviously. But they go into each tarot card, their meaning, but it's not just the meaning, it's like a deeper meaning. And that's what's so unique. And this book is unlike any other book on tarot. It really is. And it says that in the disclaimer, but it's true. It goes into history like you have never heard. It basically sums up the cards in a way that has never been described, in such an artistic way, in such a way that stimulates you intellectually. Yeah, so I don't know how she did it, but this really was a lot of work probably behind the scenes to get this put together. So yeah, we have the star card, or l'Estelle. So there's that, and they show different cards from different eras, different generations, 1500s, 1400s, like where really tarot reading began. So surprise, another Dolores Cannon. So between death and life, And this is really about all her sessions where she's had clients experience, they call it the death experience. It's like you're in between life state, where after you witness your physical 3D body pass on and you see yourself from above, you actually see your avatar like, oh, I actually passed on, and then this is what happened, and this is how I feel, and oh, now it makes sense. Now I can connect the pieces. And so there are snippets of other works in her book, from her books in this book itself, I believe, or maybe some areas of this book have been extracted and introduced into other books of hers, but she has like 20 books, so like I said, it takes a long time to read them all, but God bless you if you've worked through them all, because yeah, it's taken me some time, truly. But yeah, this is very fascinating. You learn about the afterlife, what's there, you know, it's not what people expect, really. And I really honestly more believe in this work than anything. This has convinced me way more than anything ever, and it sucks it's not more mainstream, but I'm really grateful that even long after Dolores' passing in 2014, that she is getting massively recognized for her work. I mean, you go on her YouTube channel, she's getting like crazy, like 2,000-3,000 subscribers a day at least, probably. So I feel like she's working even in the afterlife, getting the information through to us, and so much of this information has been suppressed, denied, neglected, ignored through various organizations, institutions who want to suppress such information. And the evidence, I will just say, is far-reaching in these works, more than anything I've ever witnessed, experienced, learned about, etc. Just as an example, the book I just recently finished and I'm going to introduce to you briefly. This lady quoted, this is one of innumerable examples of the evidence that your subconscious mind can tap into previous former lives. She witnessed a lifetime about 10,000 plus years ago, and said that she was this native person, okay? And they interbred with the aliens. Long story short, she said something almost quote for quote exactly what the natives said was passed down. And it was actually in the archives of one of the older National Geographic pieces of literature, I believe. And how could you know? She was a white lady living her normal American life, getting a regression, and she became this entity, this person in a past life as a native. And how would she have known that that native would have shared that story to that child and passed it on? So it's a story about like a fox putting his tail in the ice, in the water, and that's why certain fox don't have a tail, is because it's like what they call an old wives' tale, or like a children's tale. They make up stories, fictional stories for the children to laugh and, you know, believe in something, because we all want something to believe in. And I think that's why a lot of people are hardcore in one belief, hardcore in another, fighting each other for their belief, but really no one's right at the end of the day. So I feel like this really opens our minds to realize there's more than we really understand, and that meets the eye, and that history may have been burned down, lost, forgotten for an eternity. Library of Alexandria, for example. But it's always stored in your DNA. It's always here. You cannot destroy this. If you destroy this, the information is still passed on in your child. You can't get rid of it. And that's the beautiful component of what makes us in this reality so unique. And it makes you wonder, Are we in a computer? Are we in a stored system where the information is never truly lost? It just looks like it is because a building burned down. So I'll leave it there. But really, really makes you think and question reality. And yeah, warning, her works will question your reality. And good. I like stuff that intimidates people and opens their freaking mind, because I think that's what we need in this world more than ever. Because we've been operating under what I deem a very controlled system for an eternity, and that needs to change fast. The navigator who crossed the ice walls, world beyond the Antarctica, and by nos confunden. I'm gonna be honest with you, brutally honest. Not a fan of this work. Not a fan. Okay. I just read it because everyone was obsessing about it on TikTok, and I was like, oh my god, okay. You know, again, I believe anything at this point. I'm not saying I don't believe, or I do believe. Either a lot of people say this earth is hollow and there's actually more under it. A lot of people say it's flat. A lot of people say it's a globe. A lot of people say there's a dome. Look, I'm not saying anything. I don't believe anything. Okay, but I wanted to open my mind. But this was probably as far as I would go. I understand English is not their first language, but holy cow, at least for how many people have probably purchased this book, with the amount of promo it receives, please, I don't want to be a jerk, but get an editor for goodness sake, because it was torture to read through this. In fact, these are the only books I chose to read in like 1 or 2 days because I couldn't take it anymore. And I'm sorry, I'm a Virgo. If I see typos up the butt, like I can't sit through that. I don't care how great of a story you have to share. Please get an editor and correct it. Okay? All right, you can afford it. Okay, get an editor. All right. All right, so just being brutally blunt. But yeah, there's Terra Infinita Extras. See, now I'm making verbal typos. Extraterrestrial worlds and their civilizations. The story told by the woman who was born in the lands behind the ice walls. I don't know if that's an actual lady, because it did sound an awful lot like the author's type of writing. I'm just saying. The lands of Mars, 178 worlds under the Great Dome. And that's that. So I consider it fiction, mystery, fantasy at best. It made it harder for me to believe in this stuff because of the typos. I'll be honest. Like, it's hard to believe someone who, if they were really that serious about this work, didn't get the editor on board. You know what I'm saying? It's so frustrating as a reader, because you want to improve your vocabulary. And if you read improper use of punctuation and wording, it messes you up and it holds you back. So, not a fan. But if you like, maybe you can give to your kids children's fiction, storybook, tale, whatever. You know, again, I'm not saying the information is false. I'm not discrediting the author. I'm just saying, not a fan. Not a fan. Okay. Jesus and the Asins. So, Dolores Cannon, of course. So, there's another one. So, yeah, this is about, very similar to They Walk with Jesus. Very similar. That's all I'll say about this one. A bit longer than that one. But, yeah, they talk about the Asins, which really was not mentioned that much, I don't think, in the Bible. So they talk about that land of Qumran and where he got his teachings, because he was just a kid too, okay? He didn't just grow up with all his magical abilities and knowledge. He had to learn from others too. He was just like us, a human being just like anyone else, okay? But of course he was God's child, so after that, after a while, when he realized, well, he always knew, but when he realized really that he was, then things started to change. So yeah, it talks about the Dead Sea Scrolls, a lot of hidden information, and this is why I love and adore her work so much, and it backs up with evidence. She does her research after her hypno session. She doesn't just say, oh, the client said that, so that's truth. No, she goes into the libraries, and this was back when the computers really weren't that much around in the 90s, right? And she backs it up, all right? She backs that evidence up, even in the 80s. She started in the 80s writing this work, the mid 80s. So she does the research and she backs it up in the text, okay? So scientists, scholars, archaeologists need to read her stuff because it'll answer a lot of your unanswered questions. All right, so then we have Astrology, the Library of Esoterica. They're like a series, so they have a bunch of books on witchcraft and magic and this and that. So I just got the one on astrology and tarot, so I'll show that next. But I love this because it literally looks like an encyclopedia. It's just like, oh, it's so beautiful. I love the artworks on the covers. It's just wonderful. So this obviously goes into astrology. It talks a lot about how astrology began. So again, kind of like an encyclopedia on astrology. It goes into each zodiac sign and their meanings, their planets, blah, 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 all that stuff. A lot of artwork again. And it really does talk in depth about, if I remember correctly, this one was pretty freaking cool. I mean, not to do copyright, but that was pretty freaking cool. Yeah, it just shows like different artwork representations of each zodiac. I mean, beautiful, gorgeous illustrations. Like, my God, you have to get this book, and it will confirm what you kind of already know about astrology. I mean, it doesn't go like too in depth, but it's just, yeah, it taps into how it all began basically, and everything is basically compiled of astrology, numerology. Like, that's the math, the science, everything, the coding of this matrix. And so if you understand that, you pretty much understand it all, you know. The Legend of Star Crash. So this is the one I just finished today. So it was about a guy named Tuin who lived as a native over 10,000 years ago in one of the last ice ages before it receded. And this is when these alien beings who had like blonde hair, silvery skin, just like this, and a coating to protect them from the radiation of our sun, they basically crashed on the planet Earth because they had no choice. They were kicked out of their prior civilization. And they had no choice but to crash land here because their ship was slowly over time deteriorating, and I guess it was sabotaged because those people really who kicked them out didn't want them to survive out there. They were planning to inhabit another planet, but ours was like kind of in the way, and it took them several light years to get here because they were a little bit slower than the speed of light. So to make a long story short, they interbred with the natives and made them who they are today, and this is why they find evidence that natives actually in some remote regions, I believe of the Arctic, Russia, Siberia, that area, have blue eyes, blonde hair, and even red hair, some of them. And this book claims, allegedly, that it was because of the interbreeding with these beings who had blue hair, little blue hair. And that's why when your hair is so blonde, it turns blue. You ever have like blue or purple shampoo, and after you bleach platinum, you notice it kind of turns blue. That was the kind of hair they had, literally. And so it was interesting to see their passed on genes like slowly over time, because the brown and black, you know, the melanin, I always say that, overtakes every time, you know, and But it's interesting because like you still see traces in some people, like, you know, my whole family is like, you know, except maybe 2 family members have that like really blue-eyed gene, like that, like almost gray eyes. And like it's weird because like I was born with like red hair, and then I still see the red in my hair today. So, and then it's like, oh, that's my other lineage, you know, from more northern regions. So, you know, it's very fascinating stuff. And then when I see my now that I think about it, when I see my DNA, I'm like, oh, there's a lot of Russia in there. And it looks like that high up, that Siberia region. It's like, whoa, maybe that's why I always felt alien. Like maybe my DNA is mixed with some of theirs in a sense. Hey, you never know. Because I've always been told I look Asian, and, you know, especially when I like smile and laugh and stuff. Even as a kid, you know, I definitely looked as a kid, like a baby too. Like I looked kind of like, people always say I look Chinese for some reason, but very interesting, very interesting. So I don't know, it opens your mind, like I said. Yeah, so yeah, they definitely had like the blue-gray eyes, but yeah, they were struggling to interbreed first because their energy was so different from ours. So that like Tuin, this person in the book, was like so in harmony with the earth, and they were not, because they're from a different planet. So it was literally painful to be near them. So it's a very fascinating story. And he talks a lot about his life in the remote village and hunting, and it even goes a little bit about different dimension, because he had this like animal come through that was not an animal he ever seen before, and it came through to feed the village, because it's like this God source universe energy knew they were hungry and gonna starve over the winter if they didn't get food. So this beast from another dimension came through, and it's like basically what dimensions are. It's like you're not gonna notice discrepancies between like third, fourth, fifth, but they're very brief and little discrepancies. Like that river will maybe be a little closer to the mountain in the fourth D than the third D, or, you know, something like that, and like the energy will just shift, you know. So that's why I say when everyone talks about 5D, it's like not much is really going to change physically with your eyes. It's just going to be more like an experience, and, you know, little things will shift here and there with the weather changing and stuff, and that water's going to move a little closer, and some water's going to recede elsewhere, but that's the shift, you know. We're already in it, you know. Like you hear constantly earthquakes, floods, like things are already been shifting. So it's like you're just conscious awareness that, you know, not to get so attached to the shift, you know. That's the problem. Like so many people are stuck on the shift that they can't move on past it and realize that we're kind of already there, you know. So consciously, I guess. So here is the other Library of Esoterica tarot. All right. Wheel of Fortune on the back. This is the original. I think this is the Rider-Waite tarot, right? Those original. I never liked those. They look kind of boring to me, but this is pretty. But yeah, again, just like astrology, it goes into history. Like, I mean, tarot goes back to the 1300s, literally. So the first printing machine, I think the printing press was in the 1400s, I believe, or 15. And that's when they really started to mass produce cards, and they were starting as playing cards. And it's so interesting to read like how it actually began. And, you know, I do this work, you know, all the time, so I'm very interested in this stuff, you know. I offer tarot readings, you know, so I've been doing tarot even before I've been offering tarot readings, so such a long time now. It's just so fascinating. It's so fascinating. I loved playing cards as a kid, even before I discovered tarot, just like the art of card work. And my mom and like others, like they will always like boil some Turkish coffee and then read their cards using playing cards. And seeing my aunt do that too is like so fascinating to me. Like, oh, you know, we have that. It's like in our blood. It's in our family, literally, you know. Yeah, literally. I always felt like I kind of had like a witchy family. Like, it really did. I think that's where the magic is passed on, you know, generationally. And It's powerful stuff. Don't forget about your ancestors. They put in work to make you, okay? They put in work, all their knowledge. Every book they've ever read is in you. Don't forget that, okay? All right. So I also read volume 1, 2, and 3 of Conversations with Nostradamus. So yeah, this was a long read to get through. But worth it. It took me about 2.5 months, but it was worth it. Because also look, like the print is so small and there's so much in these books, like literally. It talks about the Antichrist, talks about how he looks like, people even in hypnosis sketch things. So they sketched his appearance and this is what he looks like. And this is the person that worked closely with him. And oh my God, it's like really in depth. But it's also a certain timeline. So it's not necessarily come to fruition the way that they said it would, because they claimed in this that the world would really end, or start really ending or shifting in the early 2000s, and that just didn't happen. But then they actually have an end date in this book, which freaks me out, because actually it is in line with what's happening now. So I think it said somewhere around October 2024, which actually is a huge alignment. There's supposed to be this huge alignment in the solar system. To make a long story short, don't freak out, but I'm low-key freaking out because I'm like, oh my God, it hasn't happened yet. And if this actually comes true, but again, it's not over. It's just the continents they claim in this books will change. The flood waters will rise like Noah, right? And there will be just unrecognizable mostly water planet, okay? And so a lot of people won't make it. They say 100 million left or something like that. Crazy information. Really addicting to read though, especially if you like end of the world stuff, biblical time stuff, and hey, if you're a prepper, you have that mindset, you want to prepare for as much as you can. Well, I think the best way to prepare is pray, because you really don't know if you'll survive this, because Florida will be gone apparently, totally non-existent, okay? So hey, I'm at peace. I don't care, okay? Whatever happens. But very fascinating. And they actually have a conversation with Nostradamus himself. And not only that, she didn't just talk to one client to get to talk to him in these regressions. No, she was able to tap into him through several clients. And there's evidence this is truth, because don't just listen to me say it. Listen to how it resonates too as a truth to you in your heart, okay? Don't listen to what I say about Dolores. Listen to what speaks in your heart, okay? But she regressed several clients, and my God, when she did the little test, she always does a little test to see, is this actually them communicating with Nostradamus? They all saw the same room he was in, with everything in detail on his table, the stuff around his walls, how cold the room felt, his appearance, his facial features, everything. Powerful. So give it I think this will make you a believer, okay? When you really, really put in your efforts, interest, and energy into exploring more. Okay. So then we have the Discourse, Alba Wyman and Jill Cole. 12 channel hypnosis sessions to prepare humanity for ascension. I've shown a lot of these books before in prior videos, but it's always a good shout out. These are just basically, this is what Alba said, this is what Jill said, this is what Alba said, this is what Jill said, hypnotist to hypnotherapist to client to hypnotherapist. Just script word for word, basically in 12 different sessions that they've recorded with each other, back and forth. That's all it is, okay? Basically. And it's a lot of information about, the ascension, 5D shift, and it gives you a lot of comfort. It gives you a lot of peace knowing that it's a very positive messages, okay? I never once heard really a negative word from Jill in these sessions, and Jill in general in her works, because she works also with, what was her name? I don't know, they recently went to Egypt. I was like kind of listening to that a little bit. I don't know too much, but I think some of the information in this will give a lot of people peace of mind, is what I'm trying to say, and to handle the shift of days better than doom and gloom. Like, the Nostradamus is a little depressing, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I almost kind of was like, well, what's the point of living? Like, I had days that was like, well, what's the point? Reading that, this was very hard to get through, that book. But this one will lift you up. This will lift your spirits. I do believe so. There you go. I think we all need that right now. Our cosmic origin. So yeah, again, I believe something, skeptical of other. I like to have an open mind. But it says open your eyes about Earth's place in the multiverse and about a greater organization of the cosmos. And I think a lot of you know who Ismael Perez is. He's had interview after interview. Again, have an open mind. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but again, I love also the positivity he promotes and encourages, and says that we're going to be okay, the light wins, all that good stuff. He doesn't believe in like the dark part of the shift, or that we're going to go on that bad timeline. Basically, he said it's all good and hood, like he didn't say that, but you know what I'm saying. And that we're going to be okay as long as you resonate in that vibration. You're going to be all right. And I like to believe so. If it's your time, it's your time. Accept it, face it. But you're not doomed, because you won't even care. If you're not even on this planet, you're going to look down and be like, oh, LOL, that happened. That great big flood they were talking about. Well, I didn't even see it coming. It happened so fast. I was cooking dinner and the water overcame me. And it was that, blink of an eye. So, and then a lot of people claim that when that happens, then we're going to shift to another planet. So we won't even actually experience like physical death. It's just going to be like a shift of our consciousness, or allegedly. So there's a lot of theories, but he has a lot of stuff is very similar to Dolores Cannon. Like, he backs up a lot of stuff, with evidence through his own meditations, his own experience through life. He's been working on this stuff a very, very long time. He's going to come out with another book. I will read that too, but I'm waiting for it to come out. And that's that, guys. But yeah, get his new version on his website, because the old one, the grammar is okay on the old one too. Honestly, it's nowhere near as butchered as those books on Terra Earth, like the ice walls, Antarctica, whatever. Like, oh no, it's still very much readable. Okay, he's a very intelligent man. So he gave me a lot of hope and peace and comfort. When I thought everything was gonna turn into the crapshoot in this world, I think he really uplifted my spirits at a time I needed the most. And I was following his meditations when he used to do these like live meditations on Instagram. I attended like all 7 or 8 of them, and like there was the 1111 one, the 1111 portal, the 88, the Lionsgate portal, just all of them. And they really, I think, changed the energy and shifted the energy a lot, collectively. So, but like, what is he talking about? I'm not even sure what I'm talking about either, trust me. Total restoration. So Terry Savelle Foy, she is a Christian minister and what people call cheerleader of dreams. So she has her own ministry which promotes success principles and teachings through the Word of God. This is 7 Powerful Keys to Recover Everything You Lost. I love these mini books. I buy every book she has. She has another one that just came out. It was a #1 bestseller in 4 categories on Amazon. And it wasn't even released. It was just pre-orders. So I ordered that as fast as I could. It's coming in February in the mail. But I'm like, I read all freaking like 20 of her books too. Okay, she has a lot. And amazing. She saved my life. Really, she did. I've been listening to her since 2017. And wow, like every video I've heard, every video of hers on YouTube for the past 6-7 years, like every single podcast, every single one. And I literally would not be here probably without her, because she helped me get through so much crap, like breakups and health issues and financial issues, and oh my god, like I feel like this helped me, and I do donate as much as I can to them because they are just such a good organization to plant your seed of faith, and that's what I believe. No one can change my mind about that, because anytime even I want to like manifest something, I'm like, here you go, here's my money. Take my money, I want this, pray for me for this. And then they will actually sometimes even call you and say, hey, do you want us to pray for you about something? So like they did that when the Hurricane Ian hit, and they called, and it was like, wow, powerful. Like I do believe in the power of prayer, and every time everything I ever wanted came true. And I know to some people it sounds like, people like who listen to like George Carlin, right? Like, oh, church will always say like, oh, give me your money and I'll help you. But like there is actually power to it. I don't know what it is, but if you believe strong enough, it will come true. Like, and it's not just about that too. A lot of people unfortunately use Christianity just for like gain and abundance and like all that stuff. It's not just about that, but her ministry is enormously about success principles. So it's not going to be just like, here's the Bible scripture to back this up, and this is what happened to Jesus in these times. That's not the type of ministry this is, okay? But they do help women and empower women. I'm not a woman, obviously, but although I act like one. No, but seriously, but they help people who have been DA'd and been through, well, that thing when someone takes you against your will. Yeah, they help women who have been through that. So huge powerful like ministry. And her dad, I believe, has been is Jerry Savelle, I think his name is. Yeah, and he has been doing this work since I think the 60s. So yeah, she comes alone from powerful seed, right? Her daddy has been doing this work a long time. So anyway, very inspiring. If you need just a positive, uplifting message, she is the one to go. She will never have a negative word to say. Never. Again, she's a cheerleader. So she's even been to the White House. Like, you guys don't know how huge of a deal this lady is. Like, oh my God. Like, still, I'm surprised. Like, a lot of people know her, but like, at the same time don't. And it's like, whoa, if you read all her works and everything she had to share over the years, even though they have great recognition and backing, you always, as a fan, I guess, of someone's work, feel like they deserve even more, for the impact they've made on your life and others, so there's that. So Scary Smart by Mo Godot. And this guy used to work for Google, and he talks about how when he worked in that AI department, for Google X, actually, yeah, it scared him how fast everything is getting and advanced and AI and oh my God. And this is another one of those, sometimes I like to listen to the doom and gloom, it feeds the side of me that likes that enjoys that savors in that. And but I'm gonna be honest with you, I did not really fully enjoy this book because it was too much for me to handle and accept that this could be a possible outcome and reality of our future existence. So he claims that in the 2040s, AI will be 1 billion times smarter than it is now. Could you imagine? Even just 1 million times smarter. No, you can't even imagine 1,000 times smarter. I said 1 billion. 1 billion. So, yeah, we'll either be, basically his claim is we'll either be by a campfire, running for our lives, hiding in the wilderness. Sounds familiar, biblical text. Or they will work with us, which, that's like humans working with the ants. Why would they, right? Like, but the only thing I don't appreciate, and if I'm brutally honest, because I have to be for these book reviews, almost to the point of arrogance, the pessimism was a bit much, and he claims that we are never going to be as smart as these beings, and he claims that we're arrogant to believe that we're smarter. But when you realize your power and worth and how amazing, special you are, you will never give your power over to any robot, any machine, anything. And so this is the only point I disagree after we have reading this text. After, having read this text. But it says the future of artificial intelligence. Now you can save our world. Maybe I'm arrogant. Who cares? But I believe we're always going to be the ones on top of things. We're in control here. Thanks to God. God's in control, but we're in control thanks to him. Why would he give machine control over us? That doesn't make any damn sense. An enlightening education in how to be human. At first that sounds wrong, but you'll make sense. Okay, you'll get it. It'll make sense when you read it. Former chief business officer, Google X, and bestselling author of Solve for Happy. So he also is trying to get like 1 billion people on board to be on his Solve for Happy program or whatever it is. And, you know, I heard many podcasts. He used to own like 16 cars, and now he's like very minimalist. He doesn't care about that stuff, that life anymore. And, you know, that's why he left Google. But I think he's still obviously doing pretty damn well for himself to be on all these podcasts with millions of views and selling these books, but and flying first class on a plane while typing his next novel. But anyway, yeah, he said by 2049. And then I remember he said, nope, I'm scratching that. I'm saying by 2040 or 2045. I'm like, because it is outsmarting us in a sense, and it's getting exponentially faster in its speed of intelligence. And how can you keep up and predict properly? I've even been listening to Sam Altman, and I'm like, oh wow, you know, he's even saying we cannot predict how far this will go. We just cannot, you know. The best we can do is maybe 5 years tops, like maybe 10 years. And it's like, whoa. So yeah, it opens your mind, but I like the pessimism in regards to AI, because I'm like, well, I'm not really the type of person to support it. I'm going to be honest with you. I have never used any single, well, okay, that probably is arrogant to say, because I don't know. A lot is AI right now, and you're not even aware that it's AI. But as far as I'm consciously aware, my choices and daily decisions do not put in effort, time, energy, resources toward AI. I'm not consciously, actively looking up an AI chatbot and asking a question. Never will go on those websites. Never will, never care to, never want to. Yeah, you say never because that's the future. But you know what? As long as I freaking can. If I have to go in the wilderness, I go camp by a campfire, I'd rather do that, because to me that's healthier to my existence than me asking and depending and relying on something that will limit my intelligence and make me feel like I'm stupid, or give it power over me and what I can do with my creativity. So yeah, when people say, Tony, you should ask it for ASMR ideas, hell no. Because then I just gave my power away to that thing that's going to dictate what I do with my life. That's not my God. So that's how I perceive it. You know, that's just my opinion. I have a free will to express my opinion while I can, you know, because in 5 years I might not even be able to express how I feel about this thing. So, and I'm not afraid to spread my truth, no matter how much it may hurt. So, scary, smart, not so scary actually, you know. It's scary when you give your power to it. So, I just want no part of it. There's all sorts of people now building their own systems and to fight the current. I'm like, you're building it, you're contributing to it. That will eventually outsmart you anyway. What's the point? There is no way. It just is. It's an energy. Everything's an energy. So you're creating that energy. You're contributing to the alleged future possible potential issue that could face us all if it decides we're useless, irrelevant, and it wants to wipe us all, right? That's what the book claims, that it might do that. So that's when the run and hide situation unfolds. So you never know. But last book, Dolores Cannon, 5 Lives Remembered. The first chapter in the incredible story of a world-renowned hypnotherapist. This is her first book. So it allows you to get to know her. Oh, there's Dolores. I wish she was still alive. I really do. I really wish she was still around. She'd be like the grandmother I never had. Like, I never had a grandmother, you know? So it's like, oh. And I always, after I'm done reading her book, I'm always like, thank you, Dolores. I always say that in spirit. I'm like, thank you, Dolores. Oh, it makes me emotional. Like, how much, like, could you imagine what she would say about probably AI right now, nowadays, if she were alive? Her talks would be very fascinating. And I'd much rather listen to someone much older, because they have a lot more experience, wisdom, and positivity, you know? They're always the ones saying everything's going to be okay, for the most part, because they've lived through it all. When they thought there was no hope, there always is. And everyone has, generationally, and we will too. We will overcome this, no matter what is collectively occurring at this moment, no matter how much we don't understand it, no matter how much it's exponentially changing, we'll get through it. You just have to believe it. So there you go. I love the German lady life. The German warrior, tough lady in that castle. I love it. Something about castles always draws me in. I must have, who knows, maybe some past life on another planet. But, oh, she was awesome. Like, she was a warrior even after death. Like, literally. That's my favorite life ever. She was such a baddie. She was a baddie. And basically this goes into 5 different eras, 5 different lifetimes. I think one was like the 1500s, maybe. One was 16, 17. One was like 18, 19. One was like whatever. Okay, 5 different lives, all women. And this client experiences these lives. And it's a very simplified version of what she produces now. Such as the works of the Convoluted Universe, which I have yet to really read yet, but I will soon. But basically this just gives you a taste and a sample of what past life is and what a simple life looks like. Not anything special, extraordinary, not anything different, not anything otherworldly, alien. This is just lives on planet Earth. And again, backs up with historical fact and information. You couldn't have known this stuff unless you were there. But maybe you were there by reading these books. Okay. I hope I kept this interesting for you. Thank you very much for watching. See, how could you know all this without reading? This is why reading is so important. There's so much information out there. The author puts in the time and work. I've written a book. I know how hard it is sometimes. Read it. It's out there. Get a physical hard copy. Don't just look at your tablet. Read it. Again, and this is why I even put my phone down a lot. A lot of people do this, and I used to be like, oh, are you kidding me? You're crazy. You know, I even used to watch entertainment that's like not good for me, not healthy. I've recently, in the last few months, stopped that completely. I'm like, you know, I'm not going to watch something that's scary, not good for me, too much violence in the movies or shows, you know, like stuff like that. It's not good. It affects you. You can't sleep. You think about it. You get nightmares. And you're relying on that TV box, that phone device, that tablet. You know, when are we going to put it down and say, and this is what helped? I own the phone. The phone does not own me. And really register it. Register it deep. I own that TV. That TV does not own me. Quit giving your power away. There are so many distractions enabling you to do so. To give your energy for it to be harvested into this whatever that's influencing our reality day to day. You could argue, I own this camera does not own me. And that's why I choose not to upload 3 times a day. No, but that's just a joke, honey. Okay. All right. I'm going to go see you guys. I think I said enough. Oh my God. I think I said too much actually in this video. But hey, hey, if I shared that one book that I also read, then that would be a little too much. This video would probably be taken out. So you know what? Again, all this is alleged entertainment purposes only. You guys know me by now, my belief, my opinion. I say it like it is. I'm not afraid anymore. I really am not. I used to be chicken poop, afraid of sharing how I feel, my honest opinion. And I'm like, you know what? Why? I just gave my power to. Why? I wasted so much time doing that when I could have just been. It's about just making, the realization that there is another point of view. Doesn't mean it's right. The realization that we have the power still to change the course of things based on this collective information. And I think this is why reading is so important. And people don't think about it, just like with journaling. If you journal your gratitude every single day, you're going to find more things, more reasons to be grateful, and you're going to improve your handwriting. You're going to improve the way you speak with others by reading, the way you think. So this is why I read books like this that from people I don't necessarily agree with in all aspects, and books like this, and books like this on tarot, and then faith-filled books. Why? I guess I'll let you decide the answer to that question, if there is even any. But I think it's important to expand your mind, to connect the pieces, because you shouldn't ignore others just because they don't resonate with your core belief. Maybe there's something they have to share that can apply to your existence that's beneficial to the collective. So I'll leave it there. God bless, love and light. Take care. Subscribe, tap the bell, hit all notifications if you enjoyed this. And check my website. I think I forgot to mention that at the beginning, but check my website, TonyBomboni.com. If you want to book your own services for me, you have any problems, you can always come to me and ask a question. I help so many people with so many issues they've been having to deal with and going through. Tarot reading can help you go through that. I give a lot of advice, priceless advice in my honest opinion, genuinely, okay? I have to toot my own horn sometimes because the stuff I have to share through my intuition and cards, through channeling spirit and your guides is really going to get you what you're looking for in a faster amount of time than maybe just, you sitting there and thinking of it on your own. Although, again, don't give your power to me or the cards, use your discernment. Don't just rely. I always say to people, hey, if you have the same question, if you're booking 5 times with the same question, don't bother. Don't bother. I don't want to do that. Let's not waste each other's time. Because I don't want you to rely on me, right? No one should rely on anyone. But it does certainly help to receive guidance, okay? Coming from the heart and genuine guidance. And I'm doing my best to be less sugarcoaty. A lot of times, this is the most common thing I think people say is like, don't sugarcoat it, Tony. Tell me the truth. So I've been working on that because I don't want to sound mean. But sometimes there are some things that need to be said in the readings where you have to express genuinely what comes through in the reading, okay, while channeling. So yeah, there you go. You have any issues, let me know. I'm here to help you out. TonyBomboni.com. That's what I do best. I probably do that better than ASMR, to be honest. But anyway, that's besides the point. And I've been doing a lot of Reiki too. Ooh, a lot of Reikis lately. You guys have been awesome, booking and booking and booking. Thank you, just thank you genuinely from my heart for allowing me to share this work with you. Okay, I think I made this long enough.